In John Baker's Ecology Classic, he has a very poetic description of place, something to the effect of, there is no mysterious essence we call place. Place is change. It is motion, frozen in the mind, and killed in the amber of memory. Think about that for a second. We live in a world of sort of multitasking, frenzied activity and behavior that oftentimes makes people feel that they don't even have the amber of memory to cling to, that they are isolated from family, from community, from their landscape. People are realizing this social dysfunction and serious long-term consequences, and they're uniting together to work on preservation projects which will reconnect people with these communities. ISAS has gotten involved in a project like this in the hills of Northwest Illinois with the private Joe Davies Conservation Foundation, becoming involved through the rich archaeological resources of the area, which span 12,000 years, villages, cemeteries, mound groups of the Native Americans who came beforehand. Because of these resources, we have often in the past seen conservationists and archaeologists work at odds, vying for the same sort of resources from a small slice of pie. In Joe Davies County, we tried to turn that on its head and get a number of state agencies, private groups, and local volunteer organizations to come together and work for raising public interest and the money to preserve properties. ISAS first became involved during the excavation of an ancient Native American village along the Apple River, which was up for sale, and a number of organizations got together to purchase the property, even using endangered mussel species in the river next door to leverage additional funding for saving this property. That was followed by preservation of the Casper Bluff Preserve, the Keogh Preserve, the Eagle's Nest Preserve, and most recently the Portage property. In total, 640 acres with 53 burial mounds, 2 effigies, villages, mussel shell middens, many other kinds of archaeological sites. This is really impressive for a rural private foundation with the assistance of ISAS. Ultimately, when accomplishing this, we come back to the question, what's the purpose of this, of fossilizing these parcels? For field intellectuals or outdoor enthusiasts, how will it benefit the larger community? I gave a presentation recently, and someone came up to me from the depressed community of Hanover, Illinois, adjacent to the Wapello Preserve, and thanked us for these efforts. Said this is the best thing that's happened to this community in over 3 decades. So these things really matter. They're not just academic exercises or PR stunts. They matter because they unite people, they bring people into a sense of community, they get them out on the land for peace, to work it, to reconnect with heritage, reconnect with ecology. And ultimately, it comes back to what Baker had said, in that these places are places of change. They're dynamic. We can't solidify a parcel with a pristine environment and ecology or capture the complexity of an ancient culture and everything it entailed. But Baker's spot on. Because of this change, what we can do is we can steward these places for the next generation so that they can go to these places, they can reconnect with where they are on the landscape, they can reconnect with their heritage, and they can begin to pass that on to further generations to create sort of an ethic of conservation in order to address larger scale problems. So when we look at this picture overall, what ISAS has done in putting the efforts into these conservation efforts is that it is not, just an academic exercise or something that looks good. It actually really matters. It's making really impact on people's lives now and for the future. So I just want to ask people to think about that with your own place and then go out and do something about it. Thank you.